You know, for almost 100 years now, physicists have been on this epic quest for a single, elegant theory of everything. But what if that entire search is based on a fundamental mistake? Today, we're going to explore a pretty radical perspective that challenges the very foundations of modern science and proposes a completely different answer to the ultimate question.
So here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off with that grand scientific quest. Then, we'll dig into the argument that this whole approach is actually flawed from the get-go. From there, we'll explore a new model of eight universal forces, and finally, we'll reveal the proposed solution, the true unified field.
Okay, so to really get this alternative theory, we first have to understand the problem scientists have been wrestling with for decades. We're talking about the search for the universe's ultimate formula.
This is the holy grail of physics. I mean, the dream is to find one simple, clear formula that explains absolutely everything, from how the smallest subatomic particle behaves, all the way up to the cosmic dance of the largest galaxies. You know, one equation to rule them all. And let me tell you, this quest has proven to be incredibly difficult. Even the great Albert Einstein dedicated the last 3 decades of his life to this search, and the source material here puts it pretty poetically. His immense labor yielded no fruit. That really just sets the stage for the massive scale of the challenge we're talking about.
But this is where the perspective we're exploring today takes a very sharp turn. It basically argues that this entire scientific search, as noble as it is built on a fundamental mistake.
The central claim is that scientists have made a directional error. That's a powerful critique, right? It suggests that the entire path of modern physics is pointed the wrong way, and it's basically destined to miss the target no matter how powerful its tools get.
And here's the heart of that critique. On the left, you've got the standard scientific view, which focuses entirely on the measurable, material world and its 4 known forces. But the author's view, on the right, argues that this ignores a whole other reality, what's called the anti-material world of consciousness and things you can't physically touch, and 4 other essential forces that come with it. The argument is, while science is looking for a formula for matter, a real theory has to unite both.
This philosophy uses a very vivid metaphor to drive this point home. It suggests that by focusing only on what can be measured, scientists are missing the deeper reality. They can see the surface, right? The material skin of the universe. But they're totally numb to the rich inner world of consciousness and non-material forces that, in this view, are every bit as real. So what does this bigger picture of reality actually look like then? Let's dive into this proposed model, because it goes way beyond any standard physics textbook. If the standard model of 4 forces is incomplete, well then just how many forces does this philosophy say are actually running the cosmos? The answer is double what mainstream science accepts. Not 4, but 8 fundamental forces. And here they are. The first 4 are probably familiar: magnetic, gravity, the strong force, and the weak force. But then we have 4 more. There's structural force, which comes from the very shape of things. Repulsive force, the simple idea of like repelling like. Intentional force, which is the power of our own will to make something happen. And finally, spiritual force, which is described as a kind of mutual resonance or influence between things. Now this obviously brings up a huge question. If these 4 other forces are real and fundamental to how the universe works, why haven't our most brilliant scientists and our most sophisticated instruments ever found them?
Well, according to this perspective, the answer is pretty simple. These 4 new forces are totally real, but they are fundamentally beyond the reach of scientific tools. The argument is that science is designed to probe the material world, which makes it completely blind to these non-material parts of reality. So while a physicist might say intent is just some complex byproduct or brain chemistry, this philosophy sees it as a basic elemental force of the universe itself.
To make this idea a little less abstract, the source uses a very direct, almost biological analogy for intentional force. It's that power that translates a thought, a conscious decision, into a physical action. It's driven purely by consciousness, which is something you just can't put in a particle accelerator or measure with a sensor. So the crucial point here is this: any theory that just ignores half of the forces that govern reality is doomed from the start. This, the text claims, is the fundamental reason Einstein's quest failed. He was trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing from the box.
All right, so if a mathematical formula isn't the answer, then what is? According to the author, the true unified theory isn't something we're waiting to discover. It's a system that's actually been understood for a very long time.
The solution being proposed isn't some neat equation, but a holistic system called the Tao.
And this system is made up of three core cosmic elements: consciousness, structure, and energy.
So as this all-encompassing system, the Tao is said to naturally include all 8 forces, both the physical ones and the non-physical ones. It brings together the two worlds that science supposedly keeps separate, and in this view, it is the unified field. It doesn't need to be invented, it just needs to be understood.
The author wraps up with a pretty bold statement. The theoretical work is already done. The search for a new formula is over. The real challenge now is a practical and personal one: to actually understand and work with the principles of the Tao.
And this leaves us with a final, really thought-provoking question. It completely reframes the whole quest for a theory of everything. If the answer isn't a formula to be found in a lab, but a system to be understood within ourselves, then the work that remains isn't just for physicists anymore. It's a challenge for anyone who's seeking to truly understand the universe, a really fascinating alternative to that endless search for one ultimate equation.